Yes, exactly. Robin took notes. Ready? We ready? We're good?
You're good.
It is 7:41 on September 21st, 2020. Welcome to the Township Committee meeting. Recognize that we have a full complement of our Township Committee in attendance, as well as Attorney John Blardo, and Robin Ray is with us, filling in for Judy Sullivan. So this is our first meeting that we're all together, and we're doing this by Zoom. A couple weeks ago, I had asked Vishant Saran and Colin Hickey that if they could rig the system with our existing audio, our existing video, and our TV screen monitor up there, that we could meet in person, socially distance, broadcast the meeting on Zoom so that we could be in person, meet together in person, yet still have a public accessible meeting. And I am pleased to say that they pulled it off, not without some hiccups, but it's been pulled off, and here we are tonight. Ms. Ray, may we please have the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Yes. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Township Committee was sent to the Courier News, Somerville, Burnsville News, Whippany, and to all subscribers and posted at the Township Municipal Building on January 16, 2020.
Great, thanks. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, free and justice for all.
Once again, it is easier to recite the Pledge of Allegiance in person than to do so remote on your computer screen. September 21st, checking the county website, Bedminster has 56 confirmed cases of COVID-19, 4 fatalities. As we've seen over the last several months, at one point we were reporting 5 fatalities, then back down to 4, then up to 5, back down to 4. So we're still at 4, which is all good news. I've asked some questions of the county health department. Those 56 confirmed cases are all the laboratory confirmed cases. They do not include the rapid tests that may be performed at doctor's offices or at other testing facilities. So the rapid test results are not included in this. Again, we talked about perhaps these numbers are low because they're not inclusive of all the test results, and I still think that is the case. Also, just a quick comment that within the last several weeks, we've seen, in my opinion, an uptick of positive cases in the 18 to 20-year-old age range. And I also have a question to the county to find out if that may include college students who are being tested at the respective college locations, and if that data is coming back to us from their schools, or are we seeing an uptick in teenage cases? Whatever the case may be, as we're seeing upticks at colleges, and frankly, here in the high school, in the Berners High School, we've seen an uptick in cases. So we know that it is transmitting among the teenagers. So it's not just transmitting among adults and folks out in the workplace, but it's also transmitting among the kids. And if the kids can get it, that means they can spread it to their parents and anyone else in their homes. So we've said it before. I think Committeeman Stevenson went into this at length a couple meetings ago. Use common sense. Wash your hands, wear your mask, and socially distance when you can. So please take advantage of that. And once again, opportunities to send your kids to parties sounds great, but that's where the virus is transmitting and spreading. So once again, please be careful and use common sense. We have two meeting minutes to approve: September 8, 2020, regular Township Committee meeting, and September 8, 2020, closed session meeting. We've gone through those meeting minutes, and there's been a question as to some information that was reported in the September 8th meeting that we believe came from a previous meeting. So we're going to table the approval of the minutes, and we'll wait till Ms. Sullivan comes back so we can ask those questions directly of her. So we're going to table the approval of those minutes unless there's any objection. Seeing none, let's proceed. Permits and raffles, we have one permit to consider tonight. That's a social affair permit. Music in the Somerset Hills, Mozart in the Meadow, October 17, 2020, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at 1350 Larger Cross Road, Bedminster, New Jersey. Any questions or comments regarding that permit?
No.
Seeing none, we have a motion to approve the permit application.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comments. The Zoom public comment session starts now. We have one public comment session. Any members of the public, raise your hand, wave your hand, indicate by chat. Ms. Ray is administrating the Zoom call. Ms. Ray, do we have any?
Mr. Mayor, I have nothing.
Okay, thank you. We will proceed. Monthly report discussions by subcommittee chair, Committeeman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Good to be with you again in person. I attended the Historic Preservation meeting last week. 3 approvals went through, no real hiccups. Nothing really to report to with that. The one thing you'll recall that we were going to have representative of Pluckerman Park come in to talk with us about their paint choices and their rehab of that property. They did not make the meeting, so I've asked Mr. Haggerty to reach out for them to get them back in. Rest assured, we will get them in and we will have a discussion with them. On DPW, just an update on the Pluckerman Schoolhouse Park. We're getting some quotes to do some site work just to finish up some seeding and some leveling of some land back near 287 in the back part of the property. The paving there, the striping contract has been in. We're reviewing the quote for that, so we're hopeful to wrap that up. Once those 2 things are done, that project, it can be put on the shelf and enjoyed by all. Next stop on the paving tour will be Okura Lane. We're looking to also perhaps bring in another couple streets because it's kind of a short little run. So we'll try to do a couple different runs and get some bang for our buck. But Okura, you are up next. And just wanted to put up on our respective agendas, calendars, to-do lists to circle back to John regarding the Pony Farm and this discussion about the community gardens just north of the JVH house. There's a proposal, I guess, to do something with that land, and he's got some questions and some concerns, so make sure we communicate with him. And then finally, just in our staffing, we're going to have to fill a spot there. He's had a couple of vacancies, so that's what's going on in DPW.
Great.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Doug. So just a quick comment on the school parking lot. Looks great. We've heard from residents that are really impressed with the way it works. And I just want to remind everyone that it was DPW and folks from this Township Committee that worked with the school, got them on board, directed them to the right vendors, and it's been certainly under discussion for several years to get the parking lot at the school paved. Kudos to everyone involved to get it done quickly, and most importantly, to get it done under the original budget.
Yes.
And the school was looking at several, I think maybe $200,000 more than what we ended up bringing in.
Right. It was significant savings to the taxpayers. And thank you, Mayor, for reminding me. I just did want to share with you as well that during the Board of Education meeting recently, members of the Board of Ed, made a point to thank John and his team for all of the collective efforts that they had in getting that project through. And I'm sure all the folks that are visiting the school appreciate not having to dodge potholes on their way in every day. So a real good benefit for the taxpayers, the users of the school, and the community, actually, that goes down there. And there are people down there skateboarding and stuff in the new lot. But
I may have said to some of the kids in our neighborhood that if they're looking for a place to bike, you might want to try the school. So
real nice job by our DPW.
Yeah, they did a great job. Real quick on the pavement management plan. So the pavement management plan is now available on the town website?
Yes, we've listed it on the website. To the folks listening, that is a non-binding sheet. This is subject to, we all know here, but so everybody else knows, we apply for DOT grants. when that grant money comes in for particular projects, things can get bumped up in priority based on using other people's money to pave our streets, which we're a big fan of, and subject to location, and being able to bundle and group roads together. But essentially, what's out there is our forecast of what we anticipate coming around and getting roads paved, and it shouldn't be lost that is a significant draw on the budget every year. To pave a road is a big business, so we're going to try to do it judiciously and make sure that we're not, spending a lot of money every year doing that, but we're also very aware that folks need to have their roads paved. So it's a delicate balance, and we'll ride it.
Great, thank you. Committeeman Hickey.
Thank you. Mayor, good evening all. A couple updates on our rec committee. As I mentioned previously, we had the fall outdoor basketball league scheduled to start on Saturday the 12th. We delayed the start of that after consulting with the county health department and out of an abundance of caution. And we will decide over the next several days how best to proceed in terms of resuming or not resuming that. Our rec survey is up and active. As I mentioned last time, it covers both rec programs and rec facilities. It will be available to our residents through the end of the month by logging on to our township website. We've already received 569 responses to date from our residents, and we'll discuss those results at our October rec meeting. Our utility subcommittee, we were following up on a resident's complaint on Riverwood Avenue about repeated water main breaks in that area. I'm happy to report that after several back and forths with New Jersey American Water, the main will be replaced over the next several months. So that's some good news. Board of Ed, I attended a meeting last Thursday. They are planning on resuming in-person classes on a rotating basis in early October. They're currently addressing some concerns over the roof and the ventilation system. They're looking to make some interim repairs on the roof and install some individual HVAC units in a number of the rooms. And Board of Health, there was no September meeting, but I know, Mayor, you're going to have a special announcement regarding that. And that's all I have.
Okay. Just real quick, so what was the number of responses on the rec survey?
569 and counting.
569 and counting. That's a pretty big number. Was there any expectation as to what the return rate was going to be?
We knew we'd get some return. We did a good job making sure folks knew it was out there. Did not think we'd get that many responses, so we're delighted to have that.
That's great. And so at what point will you then, will the rec committee then consider those surveys and report back?
So we'll cut it off at the end of the month, and then we'll look at the data, and that will be the primary discussion for our October meeting.
Okay, once again, for the public, and we talked about being socially distant here, so you'll see that Committeeman Hickey and Committeewoman Moreski are down there, several feet apart from the three of us up here. We're several feet apart. So once again, we're all maintained. If you questioning about how we're set up, this is why we are deploying the common sense that we've asked everyone else to employ. Committeewoman Moreski.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Good to see you guys. As Doug mentioned, there's a proposal out there, Bedminster Organic Community Garden, and on October 7th at 7 p.m. via a Zoom meeting, the Environmental Commission will be hosting the presentation on this program by two of our Hills residents, Susan Hopper and Julia Waldron. They're proposing the development of the organic community garden. The plan is to provide space for neighbors to garden together and for a few small pollinator gardens. Anyone wishing to join in can do so via telephone. Registration will be notified on the town website when we get that set up. They have a very good plan, but it is preliminary as far as locations. So we'll see where we go, and I think it's going to be an exciting thing to do. I know with Environmental Commission, we have tried a few things like that in the past couple of years, so these guys put together a really good plan. The JBH meeting that was held last week, I was away. The mayor attended in my stead, so he will be taking care of that review. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Committeewoman Fernandez.
Hi, good evening. As you all know, the Fall Fest fundraiser that raises money for the 7 Bedminster charities was canceled. However, the Fall Fest committee is still selling 50/50 tickets to raise some funds for these organizations. You can find tickets at the farmers market most Saturday mornings, and the drawing will take place in October at the farmers market. I also wanted to report out that Somerset County is having a diversity and inclusion summit this Thursday that I'll be attending, and I'll report out on that next meeting.
Great.
That's all.
Thank you. So as Committeewoman Mareski mentioned, I did attend the JVH meeting last week. And, JVH is certainly dealing with COVID. It's certainly impacting museums and attendance at museums as well as staffing at museums. So one of the things that was coming up for October is Weekend Journey. And this is an event where many of the revolutionary facilities in the county are open, and folks typically are encouraged to drive from facility to facility, sometimes with buses. The concern right now is opening up JVH and putting folks into a 1700s building with small rooms, small ceilings, low ceilings, and whether or not that would be appropriate, not just for the folks participating, but also for the staffers who would be located in those facilities, perhaps for hours. So it looks like that is going to be reconfigured. What JVH board was discussing was whether or not this could be done remotely through Zoom or through in-person, well, tours with someone having, their laptop and just going room to room, showing off the different attributes. It's something that they're going to figure out, and I think they're going to have another meeting to discuss that further. Colonial Christmas. So it's clear that Colonial Christmas is not going to be like events in the past. So being open for the week or the 2 weekends and bring lots of folks in and having the rooms decorated, having some sort of sales or food, they just don't think that they'll be able to pull that off in that fashion at this time. So there's a number of discussions about perhaps doing an outdoor tree lighting ceremony. It's something that they're certainly going to be working on and developing as they move forward. And as Renee would do in her capacity, indicated that whatever decision they'll make, they'll have the support of the township, and just to keep us in the loop so we can help them out as it proceeds. Land Use Board, last meeting was canceled because we didn't have anything. There will be a meeting coming up in first week in October. I can report that in working with the county, I think you guys have heard me talk about this before, that we did, as a follow-up to the county's presentation of priority investment growth areas in the county, we said that we would be interested in hearing planning options for the AT&T campus. Last I think I reported was there was about to go to contract with a planning firm, economic planning firm, and that contract was executed, and we will have the first kickoff meeting with the consultant, which is Michael Baker International. So Mr. Hickey, our township planner Frank Banish, and our land use board attorney Tom Collins and I will be meeting, remotely with folks from the county and from Michael Baker, just to give some basic understanding of the property, what it's been used for, what it's approved for, and then just to talk about next life cycles, right? Once again, we all hope that AT&T stays there for a very long time. But in the event that AT&T changes its presence at the property, whether they reduce from 900,000 square feet to 400,000 square feet, or if they reduce even further, that opens up opportunities for that property. And we want to make sure that Bedminster is prepared for the next cycle of that property. We don't want to be one of those towns that finds, oh, geez, our biggest tax rateable just left. And not only is it a tax rateable, it is an employment for many of our residents. So we want to make sure that property is well suited, one, to keep AT&T there. And if there's things that should be done to enhance and sustain AT&T's presence, certainly let's consider that. And in the chance that it does take a different turn, that we are prepared to deal with that eventuality. So that'll be a ongoing discussion, and there certainly will be presentations made to the Township Committee as that planning group advances its studies, as well as with the Land Use Board. So everyone stay tuned, and we'll continue to give updates on that as that proceeds. Farmers Market, I think we talked about this last time. Farmers Market is going to continue through November. So every Saturday through November. That includes the day that was otherwise Fall Fest, which was going to be the Farmers Market plus Fall Fest. Farmers Market will be in attendance. The Farmers Market will also be open for the day that was set aside for the Far Hills races. Far Hills races have been canceled. Farmers Market will be in effect that day. That gives more opportunity for the Bedminster Charities and the Fall Fest Committee to come and sell their raffles there. And we will, Farmers Market committee will have a separate meeting, hopefully this week, to discuss what we can do to further support the charities, as well as see if there's anything we can do for Halloween. And so we'll have some discussions and be reporting back to everyone on that. There's something else I do want to talk about. Committeeman Hickey made reference to an announcement. Last year, I had asked the Board of Health to work with the county health department to see if we could put together a flu clinic shots, so that we could have shots available for our residents through the county program. Last year, honestly, looked like the county didn't have enough shots available, so we want to make sure that this year we got in advance. So Committeeman Hickey was emailing the health department, I was emailing the health department, and we nailed down a positive response from the county health department. So I'm pleased to announce that on October 13, for 2 hours, that's what we're getting from the county. We're getting 2 hours. We'll be doing a drive-through flu shot clinic here at Miller Lane. I don't know how many doses we get for 2 hours, but we get them for 2 hours. And that will be free. There'll be no charge to Somerset County residents. And we're waiting on some material from the county that we can let people know what they need, if there's going to be pre-registration. We'll find out about that. I'm not sure. If there's forms to be filled out in advance, it might be helpful to speed things along. I don't have any of that information right now. We're going to get it, but we have reserved October 13th here at Miller Lane, 10 a.m. to noon. So I'm pleased to announce that. And
Any sense of whether priority would be given to a resident versus a non-resident?
it'll be Somerset County residents.
Somerset County.
So yeah, we'll not be able to distinguish, someone comes up from Montgomery, back of the line. We can't do that since it's coming from the county program. But I thought this was a very nice way. Once again, we engage, we give folks the opportunity, whether they could go to whether they're going to pay $20 if they went to CVS or $25. Some of the adjacent towns that are using Bernard's as their health department. I think you can go as a non-resident to those towns. They're doing flu clinics, and I think the fee is $35 per shot. This will be a drive-through. I did not participate in the last time the town did have a drive-through flu clinic. I did speak with some of the staff who did, and they said it worked fabulously. People drive through, they fill out whatever forms they need, hand it back, put your arm out the window, boom. And I will give compliments to Diane Gibson from our Bedminster staff, because originally I was thinking that perhaps we could do this either in the meeting room or in the vestibule over here, or maybe in one of the hallways, and come in through the front door, go out the back door, do it in one-way traffic. The county mentioned to Diane that they actually thought that our space was too constrained. Diane said, a couple of years ago, we did the drive-through. Would that work? They reconsidered it at the health department, called Diane back, said it's a go.
Nice.
So it's a go.
Nice thing.
It's great. So hopefully more details will come in. It's, I know it's crazy that in this COVID time, drive-through is nice, right? So you're not getting folks coming out and milling around in the building. Even if you're doing a one-way in and a one-way out, certainly encourages social distancing. And, perhaps more than ever, getting your flu shot is important because you'll be preventing not just the transmission of flu, but anything else that might be floating around as well. So more details again as we proceed. There is a administrator's report, which I'll just have to find. And so it is, this is what Ms. Sullivan wrote, 2019 financial audit. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2019 audit process has been delayed with the due dates extended. The auditors were able to complete the annual audit virtually with extra help from the staff and finance department. The audit has been emailed to members of the Township Committee for review. At the October 5th Township Committee meeting, the audit findings will be discussed. A formal affidavit will follow for signature on October 19th, stating that each member of the Township Committee has familiarized themselves with the audit report and at a minimum, reviewed the formal recommendations from the auditor. A corrective action plan will also be presented at that time by resolution. That is Ms. Sullivan's administrator's report. And that is a brief one. So let's proceed. Discussion on introduced ordinances. We have none. Introduction of ordinances. We have none. Public hearing of ordinances. We have none. We do have a consent agenda. We have 3 items on the consent agenda. Does anyone have a request to pull any of those items off the consent agenda? Seeing none, we'll consider the consent agenda as a whole. Maybe a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Oh, excuse me, wait. We have to do that as a roll call vote. One of those resolutions does involve expenditures.
Committeeman Stevenson?
Aye.
Committeeman Fernandez?
Aye.
Fernandez.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Aye.
Committeewoman Moraski?
Aye.
And Committeeman Hickey?
Aye.
And Mayor
Aye.
Jacobs? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have 3 other resolutions not on the consent agenda. Resolution number 2020-083, authorizing the appointment of a deputy court administrator and violations clerk for the expanded shared municipal court. So, as everyone remembers, October 1st is the start of the shared municipal court, bringing Bernards Township into the court that we presently share with Peapack, Gladstone, and Bernardsville. So the Bedminster Municipal Court will now include the Peapack, Gladstone Municipal Court, the Bernardsville Court, and the Bernards Township Court. So in this expansion, we are picking up a deputy court administrator and a violations clerk. So we need a resolution to approve those appointments. Any questions or comments?
Nope.
Seeing none, can I have a resolution to approve 2020-083?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, short at this time. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez?
Aye.
Ms. Moraski?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
And Mayor Jacobs?
Aye. So the next resolution is Resolution 2020-084. This is authorizing the annual salary of certain shared court employees effective October 1, 2020. So as we're moving to the, excuse me a second, gulp down some water here. As we move to the larger shared court, the responsibilities of some of those employees are increasing. The workload is increasing. This is something that we had previously discussed in the past, and the new salaries for 2 positions are included in here, and that is the court administrator And this is also for the shared municipal court judge. So the shared municipal court judge was originally based on the 3 towns, and now we're going to the 4 towns, and this 4th town is a big one. So this salary resolution reflects that increased hours, increased responsibilities. Any questions or comments? And by the way, we'll say we did check that this salary resolution is consistent with the salary ordinance we approved at the beginning of the year. Questions or comments? Seeing none, we have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Roll vote, Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Mr. McKee?
Aye.
And Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
The third resolution that we're doing individually is Resolution 2020-085, authorizing the renewal and execution of the indemnity and trust agreement signifying membership with the Central Jersey Health Insurance Fund effective January 1, 2021 through December 31st, 2023. So this is our 2-year renewal with the Central Jersey HIF. Once again,
3 years, actually.
oh, 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Thank you. Actually, these are required by the statute to be 3 years.
3 years. And John, is this, is Bernard's in this as well?
Yes, we just passed.
Okay, so you
Yes.
passed. So we've had a very good claims experience with the HIF. Actually Bedminster did receive a, not sure if we call it a rebate or a refund from the HIF based upon claims experiences, both within the HIF itself as well as specifically for Bedminster Township. Having had multiple discussions with Administrator Sullivan on this, she is very pleased with the way the HIF has served us in the health insurance capacity. Are there any questions or comments regarding the resolution and the renewal? Seeing none, may we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Mr. McKee?
Aye.
And Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the last resolution is the approval of the bill list. May we have a motion to approve the bill list pending review of individual invoices?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Mr. McKee?
Aye.
And Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
Discussion items. Any issues that the Township Committee members want to put up for discussion, including public comment? Seeing none. Old business. COVID-19 emergency, I think we've already covered that at the beginning of the meeting. Short-term rentals, we're going to have no movement on that. Engine braking, no movement on that. Puckman Park, Doug, you talked briefly about the painting issue, which seems to be what's going on right now. So there'll be follow-up from that when you speak with Mr. Haggerty. Colin, JCP&L outages.
Thank you, Mayor. Just an update, work on the transformers adjacent to Stone Run 2 is slated to be completed by the end of the month. That project was accelerated at our request. These are being updated so that power can be rerouted in the event of an outage and service restored more quickly. Also, like many municipalities, we are eagerly awaiting the opportunity to participate in the tropical storm postmortem with JCP&L. I'll keep everybody posted when that is scheduled. That's all I have on JCP&L, Mayor.
Great, thank you. And then the next topic, which is also utilities, because 2020 appears to be the year of many things, including utility issues. New Jersey American water rate increase.
Thank you, Mayor. Start with a deep sigh. As previously mentioned, we are legal interveners on a rate filing submitted by New Jersey American Water last December. As you may recall, New Jersey American Water filed for an $87.7 million increase on top of what was approved by the BPU in 2018, which was already on top of a rate increase in 2015. So this is our third in 3 years, and excuse me, in 5 years. Frankly, this is a blatant attempt by New Jersey American Water to serve their shareholders as opposed to the ratepayers. They have touted in their investment materials that their ROI is 27%, which is 7 points higher than the industry average. and how they've outperformed the Dow over the last 5 years. I believe they quoted that they've had a 152% stock price increase over the last 5 years.
Colin, can you just, I know you used the term ROI, if you could just explain what that is?
Oh, sorry, it's return on investment. So basically, it's an investor return to the shareholders. All right, so you put money in, how much do you get back out? Look, what they have done basically is they've sided on the side of their investors as opposed to their ratepayers. So they're getting these returns on the back of their ratepayers. It's very frustrating, Mayor, I've got to tell you. And, you know, I've seen complaints on social media and elsewhere, heard it, you know, talking to our residents where they're already seeing the impact of the rate increases from 2018. And now on top of that, there's going to be more rate increases. So we have continually argued for no increase to the rates. Realize there are multiple parties involved, including the ratepayer advocate and the Board of Public Utilities. So we're involved in discussions with all those parties. Settlement discussions have been conducted between the company, the BPU, and the interveners as late as last week. Our testimony and our economic analysis has had a tremendous impact on those proceedings, and we've convinced the company to lower its demands significantly. But that being said, a satisfactory settlement could not be reached, and as a result, the case proceeded to hearing effective today. Open arguments were heard, and initial cross-examination began. There's more to follow. There will be an update tomorrow between our legal team and all the municipalities who have joined Bedminster as interveners. We've been obviously the lead. And as they say, stay tuned. But I have to tell you, it's I think the work that we have championed and the investment we have made in this is right, because left unchecked, New Jersey American Water would just continue to hike rates, and our residents would suffer, and suffer tremendously. I mean, as we've calculated previously, it could be up to $100 per year increase, and that's every year. And then when they do additional increases, it's built on top of that. So that's why we're fighting this one. And Mayor, that's my update.
Okay, thank you. So this is something that we've discussed, you know, a while back, and we were wondering whether or not the COVID crisis would cause New Jersey American Water to reconsider this rate increase. It has not.
It's amazing.
What we did as a township committee, right? We had a budget ready to go in February. The five of us met, we pulled back, and in one long Saturday session, we did a new budget, recognizing the impact that COVID will have on our residents, on their income, on their employment status. We would trust that the utilities who've got built-in money, right? That's a bill that you get, and you need those utilities. You got to have them. You cannot not have water, right? We would think that they would be a little more circumspect and judicious in their review of their proposed rate increase. They did not pull back. And we're glad that Bedminster, once again, as the lead, we worked with our other surrounding municipalities who joined us and joined the litigation on behalf of our residents who use New Jersey American Water to fight this rate increase. And, you know, no offense to the folks down at the ratepayer advocate, but it really, from hearing from both our attorney and from some others, the research that our attorneys and our economic expert provided, they're leading the way. So it's these few towns that got together to challenge this increase. Hopefully will have profound impact for the towns involved, and actually, you know, maybe for the, you know, half the residents of New Jersey who are New Jersey American Water customers. So as Mr. Hickey said, we're in just the first day of the hearings. I understand that the president of New Jersey American Water went through cross-examination today by our attorneys I'm not sure if the ratepayer advocate participated in that or they let us be lead, right?
Let us be lead.
So they let us be lead.
Yep.
So the attorneys from Bevan Mosca, our utility attorneys, they were the lead in the cross-examination of the executive from New Jersey American Water who had to support this rate increase. So we hope for profound impact, and once again, the hearing will continue, and hopefully by the next meeting, we have something positive to report. We do have an executive session. We will go through Township Committee comments, and we will go into executive session. We will not be taking any action following executive session, but before we do get to Township Committee comments, I do want to come to something that was we had discussed, and I'm not sure if this goes under old business or under subcommittee reports, but Ms. Moreski, you had the traffic meeting. Wasn't sure if there was any update on the traffic discussion regarding Black River Road, or if there's anything that we're waiting on.
Yeah, I'm waiting on Jeff's report.
Jeff? Paul?
Paul's.
Okay. So this is Black River Road, so,
Yeah, I'm waiting for the report on the temporary speed humps.
okay. As traffic calming measures, so you had the meeting with the resident, and now it's
Yep.
up to Paul to present some recommendations and findings.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct,
all
I'm
right.
still waiting for that.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go to Township Committee comments. Committeeman Stevens,
Thank you, Mayor. No comments tonight.
Committeeman Hickey,
Mayor, thank you. No comments either.
Committeewoman Moreski.
Two quick things. Just reminding everybody about the Pottersville Volunteer Fire Company fundraiser, clothing collection at the firehouse this weekend. And I just wanted to give a big shout out to Don McNabb, who is leaving the Bedminster area. He's been an amazing person for our town with Rec, Environmental Commission, Farmers Market, and we're just going to have a little get together for him at the Burnt Mill Cidery this Wednesday around 6 o'clock. Just whoever wants to come, show up. But we're going to miss him, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Okay, thank you. Committeewoman Fernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. I always like to have a little comment at the end. So I wanted to say I did have the opportunity to go to the school, and I saw the paving, and it looks phenomenal. So thank you to everyone who contributed to that. And also, I've heard a lot of good things and good feedback from parents that are at Bedminster School that have driven through there as well. So I just wanted to make a note of that. I want to take this opportunity to thank Colin for all his hard work with the utility companies. It's been a heck of a year with that, and he really is very thorough with his representation on behalf of the best interests of our residents. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank him. And I just wanted to remind our residents that they'll be getting their mail-in ballots in the beginning of October, and we do have a ballot box here at Town Hall that is security monitored. A lot of people are confused about how to vote this year.
Yes.
So just kind of a reminder that we do have a ballot box here that they can shop that will be picked up every day, I believe, by the county. And right, yes, okay. And that there is a video and it's being monitored, so it's secure.
Okay, thank you. I have no further comments. I think I've talked enough. So maybe we have a motion. Once again, we will go to executive session. We will not be returning to the Zoom meeting. So when we adjourn, we will be adjourning, at least for the public portion, for the night. We have a motion to go to executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Just staying here, right?
Yeah.
No, we're